Several countries led by Britain have granted diplomatic recognition to a Palestinian state. This move by the UK, along with Canada, Australia, and others, reflects growing unhappiness and anger over Israel's ongoing military offensive in the Gaza Strip. It also reflects the widespread displeasure over Israel's policies in the occupied West Bank. That includes stepped up and increased settlement instruction. Those settlements, of course, are aimed at preventing and undermining the establishment of a future Palestinian state as part of a two-state solution.
When you're ready, take your time, no rush.
Ready? Everyone ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
Genocide so much better when done.
Shame on you! Shame on you! What are you protecting us from?
There's no rush.
Now, nothing will change in the short term on the ground. These moves are largely symbolic. But these countries join a growing list of countries that have now recognized the Palestinian state. That number is now up to roughly 150 countries, and we expect it to grow even more. France is expected to join that list this week. It is hosting a conference at the United Nations aimed at shoring up support for a two-state solution. These moves, of course, have left Israel and the U.S. deeply isolated on this issue. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, however, is digging in his heels. He says these recognitions are a prize, a reward for Hamas's October 7th attack that triggered this war. He says there will never be a Palestinian state and is vowing to take unilateral action in response to these moves. He says he will make an announcement on his decision after he visits the United States and consults with President Donald Trump. He's expected at the White House later this month.
Allah!
It has great significance. I know we tend to sort of conflate the word symbolic with sort of not as important, maybe, that we tend to sort of trivialize the declaration as being only symbolic. But I don't think it's an empty gesture. I don't think that it is simply something that will not necessarily lead to a tangible sign of progress in defense of Palestinian statehood. So it is meaningful. There is no ceasefire deal on the horizon. There is no real pathway to the release of the Israeli hostages. So is this the right moment, I think, is a valid question to be asking on the point of recognition. The second is, what will this change on the ground in the every day-to-day suffering of Palestinians in Gaza? I think not very much, unfortunately. This glimmer of hope is important, and I think that will matter for those on the ground, but there will be questions as to, well, if this act of declaration of recognition is being supported now by the UK, by France, what next? How will our circumstances improve? And I don't think that there is an answer to that. The only answer will come with meaningful progress on the wider context of a two-state solution. It returns to this fear, this deep concern about the forceful displacement of Palestinians from Gaza, which could be irreversible if they had no right to return to their homeland. So this declaration of recognition of Palestinian statehood, I think, is meant to deter the possibility that Palestinians can be forcefully moved. And that is a win in defense of Palestinian statehood in and of itself. And that matters because that is now a firm commitment by the United Kingdom that they will not allow that to happen. The US has already made it clear that they object to this. I think Marco Rubio talked about this last week. And the US position is very much that it's aligned with Israel's, and that this rewards Hamas. This preemptive declaration of recognition of Palestine seems to reward terrorism and is therefore unacceptable. It sets a precedent, that terrorism works. And this is the very well-known sort of counter-argument to this point. I think on the other side, in favor of recognition, is the view that what else, we have so few options left to change the pace of events on the ground. And we need to make it clear to Israel and the United States that Palestine must exist, but again, as part of a two-state solution. I think in reality, it's significant for France and the UK to recognize Palestine because of the legacy of these two countries' involvement in the Middle East, the legacy of the Sykes-Picot Agreement. This lingers over the peoples and governments of the Arab Muslim Middle East, the notion that these two countries, during the Mandate period, the colonial era, they drew lines in the sand and designed the Middle East as we know it today. So for these two states, these capitals, to recognize Palestine is significant from this point of view. But without the United States coming on board with the idea of a Palestine, I think very little will change on the ground.
When you're ready, take your time, no rush.
Ready? Everyone ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
Genocide so much better when done.
Shame on you. Shame on you. What are you protecting us from?
There's no rush. There's no rush.
Shame, is this what it's come to? Arresting what could be a grand...
يكون في شارع الوحدة